All right. Good evening, everybody. And welcome to the Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025 edition of the Finance Committee meeting. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. As far as our roll call goes with item number 1, we do have all members present and accounted for. Thank you all very much for your attendance and your service. Item number 2 is our consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes from our August 6, 2025 regular meeting and the recommended approval of bills and transfers totaling $854,436.06. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Leffler and a second by member Klaus. Any comments or questions regarding consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. All those in favor of passing the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Moving along to item 3, appearance by members of the public and county employees. Administrator Taylor, have we had anybody apply to speak this evening?
Chair Lehman, we've had no requests this evening.
All right, carrying on to departmental matters. Item 4A, this is where we would have Kathy Michael, our county clerk, present with us. The county clerk has no items to be presented for action and was unable to join us this evening. However, there are items to be presented for information regarding the monthly recording reports. Any comments or questions regarding the monthly recording reports or other information along the lines of county clerk matters? All right, moving on to 4B. We welcome our Supervisor of Assessments, Mr. Jorsak, this evening, who has no items to be presented for action, but is here to have items to be presented for information. Mr. Jorsak, over to you for anything that you'd like to share this evening.
Thank you, Chair Lehman, members of the committee. I wanted to come here tonight and explain, first and foremost, what happened with the assessed valuation notices. I sent you all an email over the weekend, kind of giving you a very brief outline of what happened, what we knew at that point in time. I have new information I'm going to pass along. I will share with you. Then if you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to help flesh those out and provide as much information as I can. I became aware on, well, first things first, we've been sending our assessment notice out in three batches this year. Our first batch went out on the 20th of August in 10 townships, went out fine. Our second batch went out, were published, in the Normalite family of newspapers on the 28th of August and dropped in the mail at that point in time. So that was 17 townships. I became aware on Saturday afternoon that the notices went out with a major printing error. The notices as they were printed, for lack of a better term, after discussion with the print vendor, they had essentially flipped it on the wrong side. We've all done a duplex copy of a print, and when they were physically printing the notices, they accidentally flipped it backward, and so the notices came out with bad information on the inside that didn't match the information on the outside. Once I became aware of that and we confirmed what was going on, I immediately contacted Chair Johnston, let her know what was going on. Administrator Taylor as well, kind of let her know what was happening. I reached out to the print vendor to get answers as quickly as we could. I spoke to then the print vendor, Mr. Cochran, on Sunday. He provided me with what information he had at the time and said, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of this and we're going to figure it out. Subsequently, they did. They let us know what happened. Mr. Cochran had sent me the following statement that he said I could share with you all. He said, I recognize the misstep is very unfortunate and want to assure you it is being taken very seriously by both myself as an owner and our entire leadership team. I can assure you there will be no financial impact to McLean County taxpayers. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, and please know we are committed to addressing it appropriately. We very much appreciate Mr. Cochran being forthright with us with what happened and accepting responsibility. At this point, I am less interested in assigning blame, and because at the end of the day, it's my name that's on that postcard. Regardless of what happened, I'm the one who's responsible for it, so I wanted to come here and talk about what we're doing to address it. So first off, PIP is reprinting the notices as we speak. We've reviewed proofs at every step, including reviewing actual physical cards that they've sent videos of and showed us both sides so that we can confirm that everything's lined up in all 17 of these townships. They're expected to hit mailboxes early next week, or I'm sorry, drop in mail early next week and hit mailboxes shortly thereafter. There are a couple issues related to this. The biggest one is the complaint deadline. There were questions about whether or not we could or would extend that deadline in light of what was going on. By statute, the deadline is set according to date of publication in the paper, not date of the notice. So in order to reset the complaint deadline, we would have to republish in the paper and republish all the changes across 8 different newspapers in the county for this particular publication. That would cost over $5,000 for us to do, well over $5,000 to accomplish that, and would also knock our timetable off by at least 2 weeks. After discussion with my staff, discussion with Mr. Rude, and discussion with Chair Johnston, I made the decision that we were not going to do that. We're going to continue to have our complaint deadline set at September 29th for this round of notices. Having said that, we are going to work with affected taxpayers as much as we possibly can to give them as much grace and allowance as the statute will allow us to do. So I just want to put that out there right now. We will work with anybody. We encourage anybody who is affected by this in these 17 townships. This information is available online. It has always been correct online. You can access it, look at your assessment, and determine if you want to file a complaint. If in doubt, go ahead and file the complaint now. And we can, if it turns out you don't need to, no harm, no foul. We can move on from it. But if you're at all in doubt, we want to make sure you have that opportunity to do it. We have also scheduled, in addition to our regular public information sessions that we've been putting on, we have scheduled an additional one in Cooksville for the evening of September the 10th, which is a Wednesday at the Cookville Fire Station, 6 p.m. That will be along with our notice in, with our meeting in Leroy tomorrow at the Living Well United Center, 6 p.m., and our meeting on September 8th in Lexington at the community center there in Lexington, 6 p.m., which is Monday. And then we're having a meeting in Normal in the week or so after that as well. We're working with social media. I want to say thanks to Dan Leary for helping us get this information out on all the socials. We've been working with the news media to let them know what's been happening, what happened, and how we're working to address it. Again, we're committed to helping taxpayers navigate this tricky situation. So I'm here to answer any questions on that if you have any, and then talk just a little bit more about where we are with the rest of the process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jorzak. Comments or questions on this matter from the committee? No? I know last round or last fall, you went through and did a session that was live streamed. So that one was available on the county's YouTube channel. Are any of the upcoming sessions going to be live streamed, or have we reshared out that information from the previous one so folks can see at least your initial presentation of it if they're not able to make it in person?
Yeah, so that one is available on the county's website. We will again be doing one. I'll do my final one here in this room. The only thing we're waiting on that is we still haven't published City of Bloomington yet. We still haven't gotten their books yet. So once we have that set, then we'll set that final date to do our final one that we will live stream and put out there for folks. That's a great segue too, by the way. We are still we have 4 townships left to be published: City of Bloomington, Bloomington, Downs, and Old Town. Those are going to publish when I'm publishing them all in the Panagraph at one time to help save costs. As soon as I get City of Bloomington's, which should be at some point in the next couple weeks, that will start that process for those to publish.
Thank you very much. I did want to just comment on your overall manner, your overall integrity in handling this issue. I cannot imagine probably the conversations that you've had and the tense experience over the last 5 days. Thank you for being an awesome representative for this county and for taking everything into consideration and trying to make sure not that, fingers are pointed and blame is assigned, but that we have an actual solution that's going to help our taxpayers, and it's going to help restore the confidence that they have in the work that this body does. So thank you so much for being a really awesome representative of McLean County. We truly appreciate you, and hope you have a smoother rest of the assessment season.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the committee? All right. Thank you again very much, Mr. Jorsak, for being here tonight. Let's go ahead and carry on to item 4C. Welcome our County Treasurer, Ms. Becky McNeil. Thank you for being here this evening as well, because we know it is a very busy time for your office too, seeing that tomorrow is the final day of collecting this round of property taxes. So thank you for being here. Ms. McNeil does have 5 action items this evening. Action item 4C1A is the request approval of a resolution authorizing the county board chair to execute a deed of conveyance. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Leffler, second by member Fagan. Ms. McNeil, is there anything that we should know about this particular item?
No, I think that you can go ahead and move through them. These are all parcels that are part of the program, and the wonderful thing is that we are either restoring them back to their original owner, or we are selling them to new property owners that will get these back on the tax rolls in an active status.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Comments or questions from the committee? Alrighty, with no additional comments or questions from the committee, let's go ahead and take 4C1A, request approval of the resolution authorizing the county board chair to execute the deed of conveyance, to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item 4C1B is the request approval of a resolution authorizing the county board chair to execute a deed of reconveyance. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Farley, second by member Fagan. Any comments or questions from Ms. McNeil? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and put 4C1B. This is authorizing to execute the deed of reconveyance. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Item 4C1, I'd like to suggest that we take C and D together. Does anyone have opposition to that? All right, so 4C1C is the request approval of the resolution authorizing the county board chair to cancel mobile home tax sale certificate of purchase, and D, the request approval of the resolution authorizing the county board chair to cancel mobile home tax sale certificate of purchase. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Klaas, second by member Leffler. Comments or questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote on 4C, 1C, and D. These are both request approval of resolution authorizing the county board chair to cancel mobile home tax sale certificate of purchase. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 4C1E is accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial reports. Might I have a motion? Motion by Vice Chair Friedrich and a second by member Farley. Ms. McNeil, we would love it if you would walk us through your reports for the month.
So the first report you have is the cash and investment report. During the month of August, treasuries were down just a little bit, but the Illinois funds rate, which is where we have the bulk of our liquid assets, is at 4.44. So just, I think it was down less than a tenth. So that's very helpful for the county. Overall, across all funds, 121,765,000. The accrued interest is only through July. I mean, my staff right now, they're all working together to pull in property taxes. So we won't have our entries for the month of August for quite a while yet. So, but again, overall, 121,765,000. The nursing home is now in the third quarter. You can see the first quarter, second quarter, and then the July revenue there. On number 3 there, the year-to-date revenue and transfers, 5,997,401. The year-to-date accumulated expense and transfers out, 6,021,837. So right now, expenses are exceeding revenue by 24,436. The outstanding receivable, 4,865,131. So it is actually down by 301,000 compared to the beginning of the year. Cash, negative 1,689,562. That is also down 357,000 compared to the beginning of the year. Fund equity, on August 16th, the county auditor did make an entry back to 2024, since our 2024 books are still open and under audit, to adjust the bad debt expense, the bad debt reserve. The bad debt reserve was $2,872,000. That increased by $438,000 to $3,310,000. I don't have the supporting detail for that at this point in time, but just know that, again, that bad debt was adjusted during the month of August, and as a result, it drew down the beginning fund equity to $1,042,156, and at the end of July, the fund equity was $1,017,721. So, you look at the revenue up there, the nursing home, these are the major sources of revenue for the nursing home. The nursing home does have other sources of revenue, not much, but these are the major sources of revenue: the Medicaid, the private pay, the VA, and the CMS Medicare. You can see the amount budgeted compared to where they are, how they're coming in as percentage budget. Through the month of July, they're just slightly under when it comes to VA and Medicare, and then of course, they're ahead on that private pay. So, okay. Yes.
Just a curiosity, you mentioned there are other sources of revenue aside from the main four that you have put. Do you have an example of what that might include?
For example, the IGT, the nursing home gets some incentive monies that come in quarterly, just some miscellaneous occasional revenue from residents, families that want to do different things.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah, but these are the major sources. And so, yeah, you can see that through year-to-date through July, the total revenue recorded $5,703,707 in these categories. But if you look at number 3 there, you can see the year-to-date was $5,997,000, so about $297,000. But most of it's IGT, that intergovernmental transfer they get from the state of Illinois.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The next report is the Blue Cross Blue Shield report on our self-insured plan. Total expenses for the month of, through the month of August, $5,592,000. and that's about 759,000 above where we were a year ago. I did not bring the tax summary in, the revenue, where you see the big summary that I do on the tax revenue from the state of Illinois and the county, just simply with everything going on in the office right now. That's one that you're going to get a copy of next month. I'll present the month of August and September next month. So,
All right. Comments or questions on the report from the committee? Thank you very much for all of your work to make sure that we have some information to understand where we're at right now, especially in such a busy time. We'll look forward to the more full picture next month.
okay, thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and then put item 4C1E, accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial reports. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Ms. McNeil, back over to you for any additional items to be presented for information this evening.
No, we are in the process right now of pulling in second installment. The last week has been very, very high volume, and we'll continue that for about 2 more weeks. At this point, I don't have anything else. I think that Ms. Taylor's going to cover some things later as we go.
Thank you so very much for your service to the county in such a busy time and for being with us this evening. We'll go ahead and carry on to item number 4D, where we welcome Ms. Thompson, our Director of Animal Control. So this evening, Ms. Thompson doesn't have any items to be presented for action, but she does have her monthly report. And we'll connect with her to say a big congratulations on the overall unveiling that we were able to experience of the new Animal Services Program. And go over to you for any information that you'd like to share with the committee this evening.
Well, I wanted to say the grand opening was truly a treasure and a wonderful moment, and I was just, I loved sharing that with everyone, so it was just fantastic. Getting on to the reports here, and thank you, Dan, for our fun photos of adoptable animals you can see there in the background. The new facility's going great. We're all learning all the wonderful features about that building and the process, and it's really helped us handle the animals better and for them to be more relaxed and happy. And it's just, you should come out and see. It's life-changing. I mean, just watching the animals decompress and show happiness and joy, it just touches my heart. So come out, see, and see what I'm talking about. Our staff continues to diligently work and care for the animals at the facility, and giving them those enrichment opportunities that are now available with the spaces that everyone helped us provide. So getting those outside enclosures where they can play and get some fresh air and get some quality time with the beautiful scenery. And staff too, they are enjoying all those spaces as well. But we're still continuing to do all of our essential services as well. We continue to facilitate reclaims, adoptions, and transfers. Year to date, 166 cats and 74 dogs have been transferred into other programs for adoption, in addition to the private adoptions of 37 dogs and 67 cats, totaling 344 pets that have been adopted or transferred year to date. Thank you to all the community partners who have dedicated so much time and effort to help the animals of McLean County. It truly does take an effort to do this with all of our community partners and rescues and private citizens and board members and administration. So I love to see the collaboration and the effort that's going into this and all the possibilities in the future. We helped facilitate 283 rabies inoculations and prepared and submitted for rabies testing 26 bats, 2 raccoons, 1 cat, and 3 dogs, protecting our community from potential rabies exposures. We've monitored 248 bites and rabies investigations. Those are things that we've continued to do through this transition. We'd also like to remind pet owners that get your core vaccines done, get your rabies inoculations taken care of. It's a good opportunity to look always at your home for preventative ways to keep those indigenous wildlife from getting into your living spaces. And then you can pay your rabies registration tag fee at our new facility and maybe make a new friend to take home, or on our website at mcleancountyil.gov under the animal portion of the website. And I want to say thank you to Dan Leary for helping me make our space on that website better. And he really is very helpful, and I can't thank him enough for the progress we've made on that part of our program. We facilitated 144 feline alters, 76 canine alters, implanted 280 microchips, and 283 rabies vaccines. So I love to see those numbers growing, just all the great things we do for our community. And you can see here all of the transfer agencies that have pulled from us from January through the end of August, and we appreciate them as well. And then we're always asking for volunteers, especially at our new spaces and at new facility, McLean County Animal Services. If you're interested, please call, stop out, check out our website. There's always things that we can find that can help the animals. We always have lots of pets available for adoption. And wrapping it up here, we have reclaimed 126 dogs and 15 cats who were reunited back to their family, totaling 141 pets. And once again, we wanted to say thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and we appreciate it, the animals appreciate it, and I'm hearing wonderful accolades from the community. They're just buzzing with excitement. So I can't wait. This is the future, what it holds. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or any ideas you might have for things you'd like me to try.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. Any comments or questions from the committee? Thank you so much for all of the work that you and your entire staff, as well as administration, have put in to make this transition happen. It's so exciting to have gotten to see the processes and the steps all along the way, but also getting to celebrate a kind of a new way of working and a new way of being for the animals. So excited to continue to support, and if there's anything else that we as a team can do, aside from adopting all of the pets, because while I'm sure we would all like to, or some of us would like to, we're excited that the rest of the community will get that opportunity too. So thank you very much for your service to the community this evening. Moving on to item 4D1. This is where we would welcome our county auditor, Ms. Michelle Anderson, who is unable to be here this evening, who has no items to be presented for action, as well as no items to be presented for information. Carries us on to 4D2, 1A, with our county administrator, Ms. Cassie Taylor. Thank you for being here this evening and being able to present one of our items. So 4D2, 1A is the presentation by Mr. Patrick Hoban, and request to approve an ordinance authorizing boundary modifications for the area known as the Bloomington Normal Enterprise Zone Amendment 5. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor for discussion? We have a motion by Member Roseman Mendoza and a second by Vice Chair Friedrich. Ms. Taylor, over to you.
Thank you, Chair Lehman. It's my honor to have Patrick Hoban with us tonight. He is the director of the Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council. He also works with hundreds and hundreds of people to build economic development in our community, and he brings to us this modification that is a joint effort for the 5 bodies that are involved with this enterprise zone. So with that, I will turn it over to you to do it justice.
Thank you. So the Illinois Enterprise Zone is probably our most popular incentive program. It's actually a state of Illinois program that's run by the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. We, back in 2017, when I say we, that means Gibson City, Ford County, McLean County, City of Bloomington, and Town of Normal, before I got here, all decided to get together and apply for an enterprise zone. The enterprise zone at the time is an area of land that can be up to 15 square miles. They've since added another 5 square miles. It was actually due to us and our rapid growth that they gave us 20 now. This is going to be our 5th amendment. So I believe in the past, we made an amendment for Distill. We did one for Ferrero. We did one for Rivian. We did one to put a standardized incentive in, was the 4th amendment. And then now we realize that we can do an amendment that's called an option 2. Option 1, what I've always done historically was there's a project. I come to you and say, without this amendment, we can't do this project. So whenever Rivian wanted to go across the street for the supplier park, we made an amendment. We said it has to be at least 25 jobs and $250,000 to make the amendment. You might have heard we have a housing issue. And so somebody came forward, and it's actually the project that is going to be to the north of the country club. That is the old post office site. They wanted to add that to the enterprise zone. And I said, well, there's no permanent job, so I don't know how to make that amendment. And besides, I don't think that residential will qualify for sales tax exemption on building materials, which is the biggest incentive that you can get for this. We ended up contacting the state, and they said, well, actually, as written, you can give sales tax exemption for residential. I said, well, great. How do we amend this to add this parcel so this development will go through? And they said, well, there's an option 2, and that is where you can just have everybody say this is blighted land, and that property is blighted. It's a giant parking lot. If you can get all 5 taxing bodies to agree, you can add it. And I said, okay, great. Bloomington, is there anything else while we're at it that we might as well add at the same time? They said, well, the mall. And I was like, well, yeah, the mall should have been from day one. And I said, is there anything we should take out? And they said, well, Benward, because they don't pay taxes. So I'm like, well, yeah, why is that in the first place? So I said, while we're at it, normal, is there anything that you want to add? Well, the normal gave me a really, really, really big list of parcels, as you've seen by all the lovely maps I had to put together. And then from there, we came and talked to the county and said, are you good with anything that's in here? So there's some land that's there. And then I had to go to Ford County and Gibson City and said, is there anything you guys want? And then it turned into a lot of back and forth, and we kept adding and taking away. And I'm like, we have to end this because at some point I would like to see some residential built. So that was the process that started literally last year. I don't think I ever want to do this style of amendment again, because if you look at the total parcels, it's literally like 120 parcels, which means 120 legal descriptions and all the fun maps. And by law, it's one zone, so I have to create little 3-foot connector strips to all those parcels. So it was a nightmare. So I'd rather just have a project and do it for that, not just a free-for-all. That said, we'll probably do another one of these amendments, because after some developers found out we were doing this, they're like, hey, can you add us now? And I said, no, there has to be a deadline. We need housing pretty bad. So the whole point of this is to add a lot of parcels that could be developed but for this incentive program, with the idea that it'll give sales tax exemption on building materials for residential properties. There is no property tax abatement set up for any residential. If anyone wondered that, this is really for the sales tax exemption. It does qualify if you're in a TIF, so a TIF gets their own incentives, but basically how this program works, you get your building permit from the city, town, Gibson City, whatever, bring it to us, we enter it in the state system, they give you a coupon, and when you go to Menards, you don't pay state sales tax. That's the biggest perk of this whole thing. So this is one more thing we're trying to add in order to encourage residential development right now, because it's getting tougher and tougher. Originally, when we did our housing study three or 4 years ago, I felt like we were the only one with a housing problem. Now the entire nation has one, and we're getting pushed to the side as like a tier 2 because people are more risk averse and can make a bigger return in bigger markets. And so this is one way that we can lower the cost a little more to hopefully encourage some residential development.
Goodness gracious, it sounds like you've been busy, and it sounds like you have had some really fun working meetings and processes. So I just have to first and foremost say thank you for all that you have done to bring this together, because the housing shortage needs to have some really creative minds behind it. So grateful that we have your creative mind here, sir. And thank you for bringing this to the community, or to the committee, and having some explanations to better help us understand the process.
Sure.
What other comments and questions might the committee have for Mr. Hoban? Member Klassen.
So yeah, I tried to read through all those parcels and everything, and so I had a couple questions. So I think you might have hit it, but if I heard you right, as those parcels are zoned, none of that is changing. So the only real difference was, because I kept seeing about the residential, there's no abatement, but the reason those areas, they look like the residential to me, they're in there so that they get the sales tax piece. In the other ways, they might get both if they're building, if it's zoned properly, they can still get tax abatement and sales tax on their
Yes, if it's,
materials to build whatever facility they're building.
yes, if it's a commercial project and the board approves it, the EDC board, and it's over a certain amount invested, then they would qualify for that abatement. The big thing, and I hesitate to say it, but really anyone that's inside this zone now, if you wanted to add a shed or anything else, you can get sales tax exemption on your building materials. The whole thing is just to encourage more investment in residential.
Okay. Because, yeah, as I was looking, I was getting concerned because they looked like they were residential areas, and I was thinking that it was more for non-residential for the abatement and everything, but.
That's
so
how I've
you did a good
always
job
used
explaining it.
Yeah, we've always used it for commercial. That was, the idea is, the old theory of the 90s is if you build, if you bring in the bigger companies, then the residential takes care of itself. That hasn't happened here. So we're like, okay, can we use this for residential? And the state was like, yeah, greenlit, you can do it right now. We're like, oh, great. So now we're trying to figure out what other parcels could be developed.
Additional? Yeah, Vice Chair Friedrich.
Could you explain on these parcels, the parcel additions, the existing zoning, and the partial deletions?
So the additions are anything that's in green. So we had to do it and separate it that way so it was easier to explain because after you guys approve it, it has to go to the Department of Agriculture. And agriculture, yeah, it's DCO and the Department of Ag in Illinois to make sure that we're not taking up too much farm ground in this. So we had to take out in red to show that, well, the bigger ones are pretty much sites that have already been developed and normal, or it's owned by ISU and they don't pay sales tax anyway. And like Benward, we're taking out as well because they don't pay sales tax anyway. So there's really no reason for any nonprofit or non-taxing entity to be in the zone because there's no benefit for them. And because we are capped at 20 square miles, we want to have as much in reserve as possible. So the next time we come before you, if there is a project that's available, we'll still have some room. Now, the zoning that's underneath all those, that is determined by you guys or the town or the county. All we administer is the benefits of the land itself, not the zoning. So it doesn't change anything as far as if it's residential or commercial, whatever the different zonings are, manufacturing. It's just saying that if you're in the zone, now you can get a benefit of sales tax exemption for investing into the site.
Great questions thus far. What other great questions do we have? All right.
I do have
Yeah,
one
go
more.
for it.
There was a larger parcel that was added, substantial acreage. I think it was like 240 acres.
Probably by the airport?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that? I mean, what was its current zoning?
It's all ag.
It's all ag.
All, that whole area is agriculture, yes.
Okay. How much new farm ground have you included in this zoning? Redistricting or reclassification, do you have an idea?
That would take some serious GIS work to overlay the zoning from, well, I mean, honestly, on GIS, every entity has their own zoning, so it's not even all like A1, they're all different. So I'd have to lean on some other GIS experts to run the analysis on how much farm ground's being added.
Don't want to take a guess. I won't hold you to it.
Well, no, because like, I mean, I was shocked if you drive around town, there's farm ground in the middle of neighborhoods around
Oh, I
here.
know.
It's kind of wild. So, yeah, to pull that, I don't know.
Okay.
Because, yeah, there's a bunch that's up around Distill, and there's a bunch there's one of the neighborhoods up there, like, again, an entire neighborhood by Distill surrounding farm ground, which could be great infill instead of the neighborhoods that are out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, I'd rather target the infill. So again, it does not change that zoning. It makes the land more valuable.
Okay, yes, please.
The lines are, how they're connected together is really strange.
Yes.
And I get the 3 feet connecting parcel to parcel. That has to be contiguous, is that correct?
Correct.
Oh, man. I forget what page it was on. it was very obscured, and I was trying to figure it out. I was looking at all these, I think it's paint. I can't find it now, but it was really odd.
There are
So
some that look like
they-
ink splotches because.
yeah.
So I didn't select the parcels. I got a list of parcels and said, can you add this to the zone? And if they're not touching, then I had to figure out the easiest way to do it, which was by corner to corner. And so they just connected and they cut across properties. It's not a down this street, then take a right. I'm not writing that legal description. It was so much
Right.
easier to say corner of parcel A to corner of parcel B and make the connection. That's why it goes that way.
Okay, makes sense.
So does that include like the Ford County ones? There's actually one going for 20-some miles to
Yes.
connect the closest parcels?
Yes, and that's counted against our total of 20 square miles. So we have to calculate that 3 foot by however long that is. And yeah, their map is interesting too because Gibson City has parcels all over the place that are connected in weird areas.
Seeing no final questions, we'll go ahead and take this one for a vote. 4D2 1A is the presentation by Mr. Patrick Hoban and the request to approve an ordinance authorizing boundary modifications to the area known as the Bloomington Normal Enterprise Zone Amendment 5. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Mr. Hoban, thank you very much for your explanations. And I believe carrying on to 4D212A is where we have items to be presented for information. So, Ms. Taylor, do you want to tee anything up
Sure.
prior to going to Mr. Hoban?
So while we had Mr. Hoban here, I thought it would be a great opportunity for him to also share with this committee how things are going with our commercial lease program. Many of you on this committee are aware, but for those of you who are not, our CDC, which is the nonprofit arm of the EDC, is the convener of a group to vote on commercial lease grants that the county has put forward to help incentivize businesses to be a part of empty space in any community in McLean County. And we do have a couple of businesses that have started up in the rural communities. So I just wanted Patrick to give us an update on that program, how it's going, and what he sees for the future, if anything. I know we just got an email that there are 2 brand-new businesses, so it's still going strong.
So full disclosure on this, give credit to, I believe it was Monticello is where I stole this idea from because they had one of these. It was a pretty cool program. We had funds left over. You guys had funds, public dollars, that were allocated for post-pandemic recovery. And since those weren't really moving anymore, we decided to see if we could duplicate what Monticello was doing by creating this program that would require a business to have an approved business plan by our SBDC over at Illinois Wesleyan University, provide all their financials to our CDC board, and we end up paying somebody's rent for commercial properties, not to move from one community to another, but ideally if you have a home startup and you want to try it out in a commercial space, we would get you to move into a vacancy. And then we pay the rent up to $10,000 for 1 year. We've ended up doing 17 of those, and they're a variety of different businesses, all different sizes and scales. But I'm happy to say that there are about 82% of those are women-owned businesses that are coming through. And as Cassie mentioned, 2 of those are in the rural areas. So Peppered Pig out in Colfax, if you go visit them. And then also Emerald and Amethyst is a cool bookstore that is in Lexington. About 52% of these are in Bloomington, and there's coffee shops. So right down the street, Lab Coffee. You guys go say hi to them. That's one that you guys paid for. It's just a really unique way to fill vacancies, because in our industry, growth creates more growth, vacancy creates more vacancy. I don't like to see vacant storefronts, so this is a way to fill some space, give some startups a shot, and at $10,000 a pop, we've done 17 of those. That leaves us with about 210,000 left, so we can do 21 more. If you know anybody that's got an idea, have them get a hold of us first. Then we'll work with the SBDC to get an approved business plan. As Cassie mentioned, we got 2 more that came in today that are in the I think it's like psychological service side. So it's just really cool to see these startups. And we do, of course, the big incentives for the Rivians of the world, and, Ferrero's great, but handing, a little photo with a $10,000 check to a mom and pop's kind of cool to see them go in. And that really adds to the quality of place that we have, because not everybody works at Rivian, but everyone can go get lab coffee. So I think it's a fun program. I'd like to get some more money from some of our bigger employers to keep this thing going after the fact. But it's a neat way to fill vacancies, and we still have some more to fill. But we've only had one go out of business, and that was Paladin's Gate. It was a comic book store that was up by Myers. They're actually still in business, but just from home. So they didn't get a lot of foot traffic up there.
Thank you so much for the update on that. Really exciting to hear that we've had 17 out in the community, and thank you for calling out a couple of them that we can make sure that we're going to frequent to keep that business going. Love having the fun and interesting ideas actually come to fruition and be a great use of our dollars. So thank you, sir.
They definitely appreciate it.
Any comments or questions on this item? Okay. Again, thank you so much for your time here this evening and all of your contributions to the community. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. For other information, I do have one other item I'd like to talk about, and that is the ongoing audit. So special thank you to Treasurer McNeil. She reached out to our comptroller at the end of our extension period to let them know that we were not going to be finished by the time of our extension. But we've been told that if we keep in close communication with the comptroller, that will be helpful as we move forward. We have been convening weekly meetings with CLA, the auditor, the treasurer, myself, Kathy Dreyer, to make sure that anything that we can do from administration or the treasurer side, that we are on that immediately to help move this forward. The the auditor has been making good progress in recent weeks with CLA, and I hope to see some final documents soon. Unfortunately, because we do not have our audit documents finalized and approved, we have had to hold back distributions for the county for second installment. So those are being held in an account, and they would be ready for distribution as soon as our ACFR and audit are complete and submitted. So is there anything else I missed on that?
No, that the withholding is required in accordance with the Public Funds Statement Publication Act, 30 ILCS 15. The county collector is required to withhold on any district that has not filed the necessary financial reports and certification of publication or posting within 6 months of the end of their fiscal year. So the county was able to avoid having a withheld distribution during the first installment because we had until 6/30. However, the second installment we distributed last week, and so that distribution is being withheld. It's being withheld in the account of the county collector, and that's where we withhold other taxing bodies as well that have not fulfilled that publication requirement. So as soon as the county is able to complete its audit and that report is presented to the county board and accepted, then the county, Clifton Larson Allen will complete the county's AFR with the Illinois Comptroller. And then the county auditor needs to publish a statement in the newspaper about the availability of the audit. Then those requirements, not only for the Illinois Comptroller, but also for the county collector, the Public Funds Statement Publication Act will be met, and we'll be able to release that distribution to McLean County government.
So what is the anticipated timing look like for all of those steps to fall in line
Right.
and for that to be released?
I did talk with Sandy Perry last week, and she is hopeful that they will be able to finish this up during the month of September. I don't know if that is going to require a special meeting of the county board. I would encourage it as soon as that report is ready to be presented. I would encourage the county board to meet and accept that so we can move forward with so Clifton Larson Allen can move forward with that AFR filing to the Illinois Comptroller. The county auditor can complete the publication that's required as far as the availability of the audit. So hopefully September. As I said, I would encourage the county to move as soon as Clifton Larson Allen gives notice to the administrator's office that it's available, and as soon as the county auditor finalizes the ACFR for the county.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all of your assistance along the way that has kept things going forward and have kept us informed. It's been incredibly helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the only updates that I have for this evening.
Comments or questions, member Class?
Just a quick follow-up. So have all those entities that are impacted by being withheld, have they already been communicated to and they know the money's tied up at this point?
Every time the county collector distributes, we send notification out by email that reminding every taxing district, this is your requirement, and make sure that you file. And then when we distribute, we do send emails to those taxing bodies as well, and letting them know, hey, you're on a do not distribute list. So yeah, they've been notified.
Okay, and do we know, have you heard of any like hardships that's going to be creating with anybody where they were like needing the money to meet obligations or?
I've never heard, I've never received communication from a taxing body in regards to that,
Okay.
because they know that the withholding is not an option. It is Illinois State
Right.
Statute 30 ILCS 15 that says the county treasurer, county collector shall
Right.
withhold. So it's not an option, although, like I said, I mean, and withholding is not it's not a common practice. Fortunately, we don't have to do it very often. But we've never been asked to make an exception, nor would we without our legal advice.
Yeah, I understand, yeah,
but
your
no.
phone, so I appreciate that. One last question, do you, just without having to look, do you know, has this happened in the last 10 years before? You said it doesn't happen often, but do you recall?
For McLean County government,
Yes.
this has never happened.
It's never happened, okay, good, thank you.
No, this has never happened. And I think that there definitely needs to be some changes for 2026.
That's why I was asking, thank you.
Yeah, member.
Can I ask the total number of taxing bodies and the gross amount?
The distribution that was released on August 29th, we withheld from 3 taxing bodies. The amounts were minimal. McLean County government, 10.199 million. So McLean County government, obviously, was the largest. Yeah. I don't have my detailed list of taxing districts, but there were only 3 of them that we had to withhold on. So, and I mean, out of the almost 200 taxing districts, there are some that do not have to file this particular report because they meet other requirements like school districts. But the taxing districts that do have to file, they have different fiscal year end dates. Like municipalities have a different fiscal year end date than counties, and et cetera, et cetera. So we have to track all those fiscal year end dates, and then we make sure that the reports are filed with the county clerk's office within 6 months, and then if not, like I said, we have to impose that withholding requirement that is outlined. And when I say we, I as county collector, that's the division of this is that I am acting as the county collector.
All right, final questions? one final thing I'd like to say, tonight's theme is integrity, and thank you for your integrity through the process and doing what you are required to do, even though it might be challenging along the way. So thank you. Appreciate it. Final, anything else under other information, Ms. Taylor?
Nope, I have nothing else to add.
All right, folks, looks like that brings us to item number 5, other business and communication. For a heads up for you, our next meeting is October 8th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in this very room. And with seeing no other comments, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your service to the county.